Okay. Hello, everyone. Uh, Welcome for another session of Kangen Water Sharing. My name is Sam. I'm from Toronto, Canada. And today I have a very interesting topic. It's been a topic that's very difficult to address. A lot of people have questions, and uh, first, I just want to let you know that I'm not a filter expert, right? So I'm not a water expert by any means. So I don't consider myself an expert in anything, but I like to do research and find out things and all this stuff. So the very common question people ask is, what can this filter do? And when we share this water with other people, all we do is we said, the filter has been tested and certified by Water Quality Association, and it can remove this. But then, where are the documentation, right? Where are the proof that it can do all that stuff? And if you actually look at the certification, what this water quality certified, it doesn't really certify much, right? And what's worse is if you look at the filter that is sold on Enagic website, all it says is remove chlorine. Simple as that. Remove chlorine. To me, this doesn't really make sense. Like $130 filter, all it does is remove chlorine. I mean, any activated carbon simple filter can remove chlorine. So what's the deal with that, right? And why is Enagic not basically say more about the filter, right? And knowing Enagic, unlike other companies, Enagic is very modest in their technology. They don't want to over advertise anything, right? And it's understandably so, because if you think about in the US, like, you get sued for everything, right? You sneeze and you get sued, right? So you don't want to get into any trouble by doing any claims, even like health claims. Like, we know that this technology can help a lot of people with health, but nowhere in the literature that say that the Kangen machine or the water machine can do anything of the sort, right? So I find that that's what you find in the company, is they want to make sure, and if they say something, make sure that it's there, but they unlike other companies who boast their product and even untrue statements, but in Enagic, you don't get to see that. So that's what triggered my curiosity, that the machine is certified and all that stuff, and all you can see is just remove chlorine, right? So when I dig deeper into the certification of Water Quality Association, so here is the certification that you can actually see and download on Enagic website, right? And this one, the certification is based on NSF, which is National Sanitation Foundation. Okay, basically it's from the state, and it's widely recognized in the world as well. And they have a very strict guidelines for every NSF standard. So this filter K8 and SD501, it's been certified for NSF 42. So NSF 42 is considered aesthetic aesthetic properties, right? So aesthetic, we're talking about taste, chlorine, taste, and odor. Like sometimes you can see short for CTO. CTO stands for chlorine, taste, and odor. So that's what they reduce and remove, right? Chlorine, taste, and odor. So that's 42. And then CSA B483.1, this is for water treatment. It's very simple. It doesn't really say much about this accreditation. And then there's lead-free, which is NSF 372. If you look at the rating, lead-free doesn't mean that it's filtered lead. Okay, lead-free means the component does not have any lead in it, right? The filter doesn't have any lead. The components that make up the machine does not leak any lead into the water. So that's lead-free. Right? It's part of NSF 61. So again, it doesn't say much, right? I mean, it's plastic, so and all the stuff. So, and the filter is like, there's nothing lead about it, right? So of course you get, it's lead-free, right? And then there's NSF 18 for manual food and beverage dispensing equipment. What does that mean? It means that it's certified so that you can actually dispense water, so you can bottle it and you can sell it, right? So it's like commercial grade kind of thing, if you think about it, right? So that is like beverage dispensing equipment. Okay. So now when I go into the website, just to make sure, and you can see this as well, and it tells you what I just mentioned, right? So NSF here, this one is NSF B483. For the reduction claim is basically where is it? Yeah, this is Canadian certification. Yeah, so this is like basically safe for drinking. It doesn't say much about what does it mean to be safe, right? That's for Canadian certification. And then there is this one for 18, right? 18 is food equipment. And then this one, lead-free, which is NSF 372, right? And then, and then the 42 for chlorine, taste, and odor. They call it aesthetic effect, right? Which is chlorine, taste, and odor. So where is any other thing that it can filter, right? It doesn't say, water quality certification doesn't even say anything about organic compounds. It doesn't say anything about antibacterial, killing, all the stuff, right? So, so the certification doesn't say anything like that. So, you might see people who, pay attention to all these claims. It sounds like we're claiming a lot of things, right? That the certification doesn't do, right? So, so here is the exact certification that I downloaded on the website, and so it tells you exactly what it does and what model it's for and all this stuff, right? So then, when you share, when you go on the internet and look at the filter technology, you see this diagram, this picture, right? I don't know who drew this picture. It looks really nice, right? But it's not even Enagic who is drawing this. It's not an Enagic documentation, right? I haven't seen any Enagic documentation telling us that this filter has this and this and this, right? This is not Enagic at all, right? So I begin to question: is it really the filter can do all that we claim it does, right? Antibacterial, calcium sulfite, and activated carbon and things like that, right? So what I'm going to share with you today is this technology. First, I'm going to verify that the filter actually has these three components, right? Calcium sulfite, granulated antibacterial activated carbon, as well as mechanical filter. Okay. So here is the Enagic official website, right? Water filtering. And in there, it says filter medium is granulated antibacterial, activated carbon, calcium sulfite, and mechanical filter. So it actually does did that, right, for all the filters. So we know that that is the technology they use, right? Um, okay, so that now, if you the interesting part here is this antibacterial, okay? Because if you look at the technology, okay, carbon does not remove bacteria and viruses, okay? It doesn't. Calcium sulfite, which we find later, it does not remove anything. So when it's antibacterial, there is something in here still that we're not seeing that's actually antibacterial. Okay, so the good thing is Enagic actually states that it's antibacterial. So at least we know it's antibacterial, and there's no certification for it. But if Enagic says it's antibacterial, we know that it does remove bacteria and viruses. So for me, in my personal experience, when I went to Vietnam, usually, I get like travel sickness, right? Traveler sickness all the time, with diarrhea and all that stuff, stomach ache, with the water in Vietnam. But nowadays, when I go to Vietnam, I drink the water from through the Kangen machine, and I don't have the stomach ache that I used to have. So I know it's antibacterial for sure. Right? So that's a good thing. So let's talk about the activated carbon or activated charcoal. So it's just for nomenclature, right? So activated carbon, activated charcoal, active carbon, or carbon block, they're all the same technology, okay? So how is it done? It's basically carbon is it's very porous, right? So it basically it has many pores that it stops the particulate. Not only that, it uses a technology called adsorbent, right? So adsorbent or absorption is not absorption. It is not AB, but it's actually AD, add, right? Absorption is basically it sticks, right? So you imagine the Velcro. You have a Velcro. Yeah, my laptop has Velcro, so it sticks like this, right? See, it sticks, right? So that's absorbent, right? So it sticks onto the surface of the carbon, okay? So that's how the filter works, right? So because it has many, the surface is very large. If you're talking about 1 gram of carbon, you have like 1,500 meters of surface area, right? 1,500 meters square. That's a big area, right? For only 1 gram carbon. So it has a lot of surface, and it attach all the particulates as well as the chemical compounds that's attached to it. Okay. So now the question a lot of people have is lead, right? Lead is a big contaminant in the water, especially in area where the piping is old, right? In the old days, lead is used everywhere, especially with the pipe, because they use lead to weld, right? When you have like a cut in the pipe, right, or a hole, they patch the hole of the pipes by welding, right? And welding is usually to use lead welding, right? So you have lead soldering that leach out into the water, right? Not so much in the main water mains, but when it goes into the house, they go into your basement, right? Your pipes and some of the faucets and things like that is still lead, right? So in Toronto, like there has been studies that in fact, like we are like a public water, it's like heavily contaminated with lead, right? Because of the old pipes. Any house that is built before 1953, most likely will have like lead pipes and things like that. And not only that, like a lot of schools, like they said like they found like 90% of the schools, which is really old, right, is contaminated with lead. And lead is a neurotoxin, right? It affects children and things like that, and your kids are going to school and drinking water from the fountain, like so they study that it's heavily contaminated with lead. So I mean, you want to check on the news and research and stuff like that. So can this activated carbon remove lead? So that's the question, right? In fact, it does. And this study is found by Water Quality Association as well, right? When you see GAC, right? GAC, that's granulate activated carbon, right? That's the short term. So GAC works to reduce undesirable taste, odor, and color, and improve the safety of drinking water by effectively removing common disinfection byproducts. This is like trihalomethane, which is a chloroform and stuff like that in the chlorine, right? Chlorine byproducts. And then organic contaminants, right? As well as pesticides, industrial waste, or industrial pollutants, pesticides, and selective heavy metals such as lead and mercury, right? So that's why when we share this, technology of the filter, we said that, yes, it removes heavy metals such as lead and mercury, right? Because those are the metals that activated carbon can remove, okay? Also, but notice that it's not labeled anywhere in the certification. It's not labeled anywhere in the Enagic product, right? But we know the technology, activated carbon, does remove these things, right? Although it's not certified as such, right? And then here is EPA, which is United States Environmental Protection Agency. They also talk about lead absorption into activated carbon. And here it says activated carbon is one of the best technologies available that remove lead via absorption. Okay, so we do the filter does remove lead. Okay, so just to rest assured that there's a lot of studies out there, and it actually says that the technology actually removes lead. Okay, what else does it remove, right? Here we have a study in Medical News Today, and it can remove nickel. 99% of nickel, which is heavy metal, one of the heavy metals in activated carbon. Okay, and also it removes a lot of organic compounds, right? Such as benzene, toluene, xylenes, and all these industrial waste products and chemicals that it can remove, like fuel, like how you have like a gas leak, oil spill, like in the ocean and things like that, right? This can remove chlorine, solvents can be removed, like pesticides can be removed as well. So you know that activated carbon also removes all these organic compounds that is basically contaminants in the water, or can be contaminants in the water. And here other chlorine byproducts, VOC. When you say VOC, that's volatile organic compound, right? Organic compounds that evaporate. Like volatile means that it can evaporate. So volatile organic compounds, activated carbon can eliminate like chlorine byproducts, right? In fact, it removes 32 most known chlorine byproducts. Okay. So I just want to show you why do we have so many chlorine byproducts. Jimmy, what is your zip code?
My zip code?
Anyone's zip code, just shout it out.
92646.
92886.
92886?
Yes.
Okay. So here is the EWG, which is so 92886, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then you must live in Linda, the city is Linda, right? Yorba Linda, correct? Is that your city?
Đúng rồi.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you can view the quality of your water. Okay, here you have 16 contaminants that is exceeds the health guidelines. They found 29 contaminants. Okay, so let's see what they are. Arsenic, you are 580 times more than regular. Okay, now chlorine byproduct, let me just explain to you, right? This is bromo chloromethane, chloro. You can see the chloro here, right? Bromoform, which is also a chlorine byproduct. Chloroform is also a byproduct of chlorine, right? Dibromochloromethane, which is also product. And you see what are these contaminants? These are exceed the normal health guidelines. And what is the health effect? Potential cancer, 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 cancer. 16 cancer, you know, this one, look at that. This is like man-made. This is man-made compounds, like in fire suppression, foam and stuff like that, and some industrial waste. Look at it, 2,500 times more, right? And also potential cancer, potential cancer. They're all cancer related in the water. And uranium, also 16 times more uranium in your water. This is with your zip code. So you can see that if you can go to this website and check your zip code, you can see the contaminants that they found in your water and how whether it exceeds your the health limits. So it's pretty scary when you think about how contaminant water is, and we don't even recognize it or realize it, right? Unless you do research and stuff like that, you find it. So there's a lot of contaminants. Okay. So pesticides, right? There's a lot of pesticide in California as well. And look, 14. They tested 14 most common pesticides being removed by activated carbon filters, right? And pesticide is a general term, right? That kills pests. But pesticide includes herbicides, which just kills weeds, right? Insecticides to kill insects. Fungicide, which is killing fungus, right? And others, okay? So together, it's called pesticide, right? Which is herbicide, insecticide, fungicide, and other side, suicide, whatever. So you can see that 14 of pesticide being removed. Okay. Here, activated carbon also removed 99% of suspended solid, which is a CDS, right? Volatile organic compound, VOC, I mentioned that earlier. Sediment, heavy metals, chlorine, chloramine, right? Activated carbon can remove all that. Okay. Here, PFOs, right? This is the one that I told you about. So firefighting foam, like suppression foam. Any company that makes carpet, paper packaging, these are industrial area where food, clothing, fabric, and all the stuff, they produce this chemical. And these chemicals, it's very hard to break down. Very difficult to break down. That means that once it's in the environment, it stays in the environment, right? It is decomposed to other organic compounds. So once it's in the water, then basically you drink it and it causes a congenital disabilities, which is basically birth defect, right? Cancer, liver affecting, and all kinds of stuff. So and that we saw, earlier 5,000 times or something like that, right? In that area. Here you get sulfate, you get pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals is big. Pharmaceuticals are basically drugs that when people take drugs, in healthcare system nowadays, like every time you go to a doctor, you most likely will get a prescription of some sort of drug, right? So when you take drugs, what happens? It masks the symptoms, but then you can urinate and out into the water, right, into your toilet, and the toilet basically end up in the ocean, in the in the river, in the lakes, and it comes back into your water, right? So pharmaceutical products is a big concern, right? And basically, here it mentioned that the compounds get into the water source through human waste. Human waste, which is when you poo and pee, right? And it flushes into a toilet, right? So and the runoff and all that stuff. So activated carbon can filter, remove pharmaceutical residue in drinking water. Okay, so the filter can do that as well. And sulfate, which is another bad thing, and human sewage and chemical manufacturing, charcoal filters can remove 90% of that. Okay, so here is CFA, which is actually a statement from EPA, right? They found that EPA can be removed from drinking water by activated carbon treatment. Okay, so you can see that this chemical can be removed. Activated carbon remove bad taste, odor, organic compound. Okay, and also there's some of the organic compounds that is very concerning. So here is another website. It's EPA.gov, which is a government website, right? And they have a whole database of all the activated carbon, what it can remove. And chromium 5, I'm not sure if you remember the movie called Aaron Brockovich, right? What's the
Julia Roberts.
Yeah, Julia Roberts, exactly, right? She's famous for Pretty Woman, right? So she found out that there's a major contaminant that caused cancer to the whole village, and no one, basically everything got swept under the rug, right? So she was one who uncovered. It was a big class action lawsuit, and people are dying of cancer because of this. And this is big in the States. If you look at the contaminants, it's everywhere in the States, right? Here is arsenic, which is another big thing that a lot of people are worrying about, and activated carbon can remove. Okay, and 1,4-dioxane is also a big thing that a lot of people worry about. This is also an organic compound that causes cancer and stuff. Right. So activated carbon, US EPA, right? It can remove and through adsorption. Okay, so here is the reason why I'm showing this is this thing here, this statement. The limit to the mass of pollutants that can be collected by an adsorbent. What does that mean? As you know, activated carbon sticks to the surface, right? So once it sticks to the surface, that area is no longer has the ability to stick, right? So things keep adding on to the surface. Pretty soon you will run out of the surface, right? So what happens when you run out of the surface? It starts to leach back into the water. Okay, so there's a lot of activated carbon out there that advertise, oh, it's great, all the stuff for your house, and people put the filter there, but they install, they forget, right? So at the beginning, yes, it's filter, but later on, it will basically fill up, and if you don't change the filter, contaminant actually can get in. Not only that, bacteria start to grow, right? Mold and other stuff start to grow as well, and so the water becomes worse than without the filter. Okay, so if you have any type of carbon filter, you gotta make sure that you change at the time when they recommend you to change. Okay, luckily with the Enagic filter, we know that the filter is designed for 1,500 gallons, which is 6,000 liters, right? So when that time comes, the machine will tell you, time to change your filter, right? And please do change it, because if you don't change it, the water becomes worse for you, right? You can actually get sick from it. So make sure you change the filter when it's assigned. And also the K8, not only that, it has a gauge as well, so you can see when the filter needs to be replaced, right? So all the filters, basically, there are two factors that affect when to change the filter. One is the volume of water going through the filter, and two is the time. Okay, so in the K8, when you do a filter check, you can see, like, time versus volume, right? So when even if you use very little, you use like half of the filter, but when the time changes 1 year, then it will ask you to change the filter. The reason why is even there's still room for filtration. If it's too long, all the contaminants start to bacteria start to grow and things like that, right? But our water has like antibacterial, which is not a function of activated carbon, by the way. So in fact, I don't know what it is about. They said that antibacterial treatment. I don't know what kind of treatment it is. It's probably proprietary to Enagic, that it removes bacteria, but we don't know what that is. But we know that it does, right? Activated carbon does not remove bacteria. Okay, so now the second technology that the filter has is what we call it the calcium sulfide, right? So we talked about bacteria, activated carbon already, right? So why do we add calcium sulfide? Okay, there's not a lot of literature on this, by the way, right? So what I found I can share with you, but so here is what calcium sulfide looks like. It's white, right? And in this studies, it says that calcium sulfide is 100 times more effective than activated carbon in removing chlorine and heavy metals such as lead, mercury, cadmium, and aluminum, right? So calcium sulfide is better than activated carbon in terms of removing chlorine and heavy metals, 100 times more. So that's why Enagic said, our filter can remove chlorine, because chlorine is removed by two technology, right? Activated carbon as well as calcium sulfide, right? So calcium sulfide remove chlorine as well as heavy metal. So that's two filters that can remove heavy metal, okay? And they did a study here. You can see the comparison of the time, right? This is a normal temperature, and with the time and how it can remove the chlorine, right? And here is another one. Here's the efficiency of moving chlorine. In fact, calcium sulfide is also used in the water filter, right? The reason why water filter is hot. Oh, I forgot to ask you to explain a little bit of what can affect the efficiency of carbon filter, right? A carbon filter is good at normal temperature. If it's too hot, it's like hot water and things like that, it doesn't remove as well, right? That's number one. Number two is flow rate, right? So if you have too much the water going too fast through the filter, then it might not remove, because it needs time to stick, right? To absorb the contaminants, right? So flow rate, temperature, as well as time, right? So here we're talking about calcium sulfide, and it actually compared with other filters, calcium sulfide remove chlorine even when it's hot, right? So like this is in seconds. So that means that 100% of chlorine being removed. Doesn't matter when you turn on the water, it removes right away. But like let's say CTO, right? If you run the water for like 3 seconds, and then after 3 seconds, it starts to decrease in terms of the efficiency of removing. KDF also does that. right? So again, this is the filter for more studies. So, and here is another source: activated carbon and sometimes calcium sulfite to get rid of chemicals such as lead, chlorine in water. So it does remove lead and chlorine with activated carbon and calcium sulfite. Okay, so then we have another one is mechanical filter. What does mechanical filter mean? Mechanical filter. Where you see mechanical filter? Mechanical filter basically is just pore size, right? So basically it's a membrane that is smaller than 5 microns. So any particulate, anything like that, in 5 microns, it can remove, right? And in fact, that is the first, when you first enter the filter, it goes through mechanical filter first. And mechanical filter basically removes sediments, right? Anything rust or mud or sand or anything that is particulate, right? That is bigger than 5 microns, it gets removed. And then it goes through activated carbon, and then calcium sulfite, and then it activated carbon, and then calcium sulfite, and then it comes out, right? So first, second, third in that order, and then it comes out into clean water. Okay, and you know that through this process, the minerals still remain, right? So that's one special about this filter is, you know, all the contaminants, it remove everything, remove heavy metals, remove antibacterial, all that stuff. But mineral, which is, you know, beneficial to your health, is it's still in the water and it's not being removed. Okay, so that's the filter. And then there's question about fluoride. Okay, so chlorine is removed. What about fluoride? Fluoride is it's one of the health movement, I should say, right? Because fluoride does not naturally occur in water, right? So that people put chlorine, but we also put fluoride in the water. Why do we put fluoride? Because there has been studies that fluoride actually helps with tooth decay in children, right? So there's a lot of studies that, you know, if you add fluoride in the water or in toothpaste, right? In toothpaste, you have fluoride too, right? So, you know, you brush your teeth with the fluoridated toothpaste and things like that. It will help remove cavities and tooth decay. But at the same time, it gets into your system and it stays in your system. That's why sometimes fluoride is considered like forever chemical, right? And once you get into your system, it stays. And it's considered a neurotoxin. It affects your thyroid, hormones, and things like that. So a lot of people try to stay away from fluoride, but a lot of times they don't have a choice, right? Because, you know, it's in the water, right? The municipal city of Toronto, city public health adds fluoride in the water, right? So how do you remove fluoride in this technology, right? So far, what I've seen and read, none of them mention anything about fluoride. But I know fluoride can be removed. Why? Because of electrolysis. Okay, so after the water has been filtered, it goes through this electrolysis chamber, right? So in the chamber, you have the negative electroplates, and you get positive electroplates, right? So electricity basically have charges, and it removes any negative ions, right? To go into the secondary holes, and the top holes is what we drink, the Kangen water, right? So it retains all the good mineral, which is the alkaline minerals, right? And anything that fluoride happens to be a negative charge, right? So it will be attracted and be removed from your water by just ionic, you know, filtration, right? So the charge, right? Electrocharge, electrostatic charge, right? So the reason why I'm showing you this is if you look at this, fluoride, chloride, bromide, iodide, right? These are the same periodic table, right? The same column. What is the same column? It has the same valent bond, right? So it has like 9, fluoride has like 9 protons, right? Or 9 electrons, right? So you need 10 to complete, right? So that's why it's oxidizing. So it needs 1 electron. So it grabs an electron to show its octet rule, right? So fluoride, chloride, bromide, iodine, these are things that people add into the water to remove bacteria and virus and things like that, or any organic matter, right? That's why in our demo we talked about chlorine and the chlorine test and stuff like that, and iodide test, right? So if you look at this is called halogen gas, right? Let's see the color coded. Yeah, halogen right here, right? See the color? That's halogen, right? So halogens, that's why you see like trihalomethane, right? THM, trihalomethane. Tri means 3, right? 3 halogens, right? So trifluoromethane, trichloromethane, which is chloroform, bromomethane, right? Di or tribromomethane and all the stuff. So it's all basically halogens that people put in the water to remove and kill bacteria, but it becomes a byproduct, which is THM, trihalomethane, which is the stuff that causes cancer and all the stuff that you saw earlier, right? So through the filtration of after the filtration, there's another level of eliminating bad stuff, right? Which is chlorine, if it has any, or fluoride, which is stuff that's added into the water as well. Okay, so that basically explains all the technology, what the filter can do, not just because it's certified by Water Quality Association, but the technology of these 3 things actually helps remove a lot of stuff that is bad for your health that this filter can do. So just to say that this filter can only remove chlorine, just like how the website says, right? Remove chlorine only. It's an understatement. It doesn't do any justice with this technology that Enagic have created. Enagic is very modest in terms of saying anything about that filter, but the technology is there, and calcium sulfide actually is expensive, and not a lot of filter use that, right? So and you can actually see it, right? You see this part here, that's calcium sulfide. You can see the white part here, that's calcium sulfide, and the black part is all activated carbon. So there, I hope to shed some light on that, and also do some justice for this smart filter that you don't see it in the literature of the Enagic website or any other places. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yep.
So how come on Enagic website they only list remove chloride or chlorine in the description?
I just told you.
Sorry, say that again.
Basically, Enagic is very cautious about claiming anything, right? Especially in the States, right? You get sued for everything, right? So chlorine, they know that they can remove. This is the easiest thing to remove, right? So they put it there. But we know that it can do more than just chlorine, and that is the reason why I'm sharing with this, right? They're very cautious about any claiming of removing stuff, and even the health things, like Kangen water is so beneficial to your health, and it basically promote health and all that stuff, but you don't see that at all in the Kangen water website or Kangen anything, right? So they are very modest in terms of claiming anything, but the technology is there to remove a lot of stuff that I just shared. But I actually asked the employees at Enagic, right? They even not trained or trained to say that all our filter is just remove chlorine, right? You can't justify a filter of $130, right, just to remove chlorine, right? Any filter can remove chlorine, right? Chlorine is activated carbon. As long as it's carbon based, it can remove chlorine, right? So that is the reason. So, and Water Quality Association, even you look at their Water Quality Association website and what it tells you what it can do, right? It's more than what you see in the website, right? So in any case, knowing that this water can do a lot of stuff. Let's, for example, antibacterial, right? It's important because, why is it important? Because when you, municipal water already have chlorine, right? It already has chlorine, so it already remove bacteria and stuff like that. But if you have well water, right? Bacteria is an issue, right? Especially E. coli. Well water, a lot of times what happens is in the farm, right? Usually people use well water is like in the farm area, right? And farm have runoff, right? And farm use feces, right? Like for fertilizer, right? Fertilizer, a lot of people, they use organic fertilizer, all the manure, right? Stuff like that. So that is basically a lot of E. coli and salmonella and all the stuff, right? Bacteria. And then the rain comes and the well, right? It's open, right? So water runs down, right? So all the bacteria and some of that going down and it goes into the water system, right? Aside from sipping down into the soil as well. So the water, the filter has to remove bacteria, and it doesn't say that. But if you look at the website, it does say antibacterial. You see this, right? This is a Enagic website. The antibacterial activated carbon, right? So it is antibacterial, but you don't see that on the website. All it says is removing chlorine. Right?
You're not sharing. You're not sharing your screen, by the way.
So if you do your research here, it says antibacterial, right? For any all the filter medium, right? So it's antibacterial and calcium sulfide, but you don't see, you don't need chlorine just to remove chlorine to have all this, right? So that's just my take on it, my personal opinion, that they just worrying about, any claiming of filtration. So they don't want to publish. So I guess it's up to us to understand what this technology can filter, right?
Agree.
Okay.
Hello, Tom. Can you share with us? Yeah, can you share with us the website that you just listed, like the Yorba Linda, California, with the amount of the different type of cancer potential? Is there like a certain website that we actually looked at for a different zip code?
Yeah, it's right here. It's in my presentation as well. Hold on here. That's my first page.
Just gonna snapshot it.
Here, you can see it. ewg.org, tap water.
Okay.
You see that?
Yeah, I just saved I just saved it.
Yeah. So just you go there, you put your zip code in, you can see the contaminant. It's pretty scary, right? You think about it. They're all zip codes. You can see all kinds of cancer and contaminants and stuff like that. And then people are just oblivious of the water quality that people drink, right? This is water from your tap, okay? I'm not talking about like water in the lake or the river. Like we don't care, right? Water in our tap. What's coming out from our tap is that contaminated, right? So
Brother Tantam, how often EWG update their data? The data
this,
that we look at is
this
for
is
2019.
you see this? Can you see the website?
Yeah, I saw the website. What I'm saying is how often that they update their data, because the
Okay.
data we look at was 2019. Now it's 2021 already.
Yeah, 2019 is when they updated the website, right? So of course, when you're talking about this, you cannot update every year because we're talking about thousands of municipal water. You don't have the money to go to do all that stuff. This is 20 years worth of research as well, right? Can you see? Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm sharing right now, but this is 20 years of data. That's and they update like 2019 is the last updated. So and depending on the zip code, sometimes you can see here data available from 2012 to 2017, right? So unless someone's doing something about it, I don't think it changes that much. Right?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Tam.
Yeah.
To me again. The most common cause of all the trouble with the water, contaminated water from the city, the most impact is the GI tract. So I'm wonder, what's the most significant elements in that actually impact the GI tract the most?
GI tract, I would say CHM, right? Trihalomethanes. There has been studies that byproduct of chlorine, right? Byproduct causes colon cancer, right? And also bladder cancer as well. So if you see this, this is all trihalomethanes related. Bromo, if you see bromine, chlorine, iodine, right? So those are halogens, right? And you can see that chloro and bromo together, bromo, chloro, right? Here, bromo, chloromethane again, right? So these things are basically chlorine byproducts. There's 32 altogether chlorine byproducts, right? As well as this one here, that's the man-made product that we saw earlier with the fire suppression foam and stuff, right? Yeah, this one, these two here. Also really bad. Trihalomethane, right? Tri means 3, halo means halogen, methane means 1 carbon, right? So that's chloroform, bromoform, and all that stuff. So
hello,
uranium.
Yeah, one other question. I have many questions tonight, but just one more. The one that impact the bone tissue, like people with when getting older, and then their bones getting like really weak and easy to break and all that. Yeah. What type of elements actually impact those?
Actually, fluoride. Fluoride has been known to thinning bone, right? That is one of the things. So the condition you call is osteoporosis, right? Osteoporosis is the thinning of the bone, and one of the reasons for bone thinning is also acidic in your body, right? Too much acidic. So your body has the ability to neutralize the acidic, right? That's like part of homeostasis, right? Which is the balancing of your body. So if your body is too acidic and you're not drinking alkaline, you're not eating enough alkaline, you're not drinking enough water to flush out, right? You have too much acidic. So what happens? Calcium it starts to leach out from your bone to neutralize the acidity, right? So let me explain to you. Because calcium is an alkaline mineral, right? Here you can see here. Let me share screen again. Okay, so you can see here calcium, right? That's in yellow, right? And yellow is alkaline mineral, orange, sorry, right? Alkaline mineral. So calcium, magnesium, and all the stuff in your body, especially calcium, is leached out from your bone, right? It becomes like calcium bicarbonate, right? And it neutralizes the acidity, the acid in your blood and in your body, right? So because you use more calcium to neutralize the acidity than having more calcium in your body, therefore, you know, basically the equation doesn't balance, right? So you start to lose your bone because of the over acidity. And women, you know, after menopause, right, they stop producing estrogen, right? And estrogens also affect the deposition of the bone. Like, you know, basically when you lose bone, but your body also replenish your bone, right? But because of the estrogen, it stops the replenishing of the bone, right? That's why, you know, older women who is like menopausal, they need to take more calcium and supplements and things like that to replenish the calcium required, and so that they don't get like osteoporosis.
Thank you, Anton.
You're welcome.
And Tom, so that means people who are swimming in the swimming pool too long hour, their bone will be become fragile, right?
No, I didn't say that. How do you get that? When you swim, then you're exposed to more chlorine and chlorine byproducts, right?
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
yeah, but it has something to do with the bone. That's basically cancer-causing stuff, right? In fact, there have been studies that swimmers actually exposed to chlorine and chlorine byproducts 20 times more than regular people.
Yes.
Right, 20 times more. We are exposed to chlorine all the time. Like, you know, in the shower, we inhale the evaporation of chlorine and chloroform. You know, in your skin. You know, when you're naked, you know, shower. You know, you're absorbing a lot. You wash your face. You come in contact with all that. You brush your teeth. You know, you wash your vegetables, right? So, you know, tap water is full of, you know, all those contaminants, right? So you're basically putting all kinds of chemicals in your skin, and, you know, and in your stomach.